Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to our August school board meeting. Call the roll, Mr. Vassar.
Mr. Jewell,
Here.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Here.
Mrs. Miller,
Here.
Mrs. Milligan,
Here.
Mrs. Morris.
Here.
At this time, I'd like everybody to stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Vale.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. We have two presentations tonight. Thank you, Mr. Jewell. We've got two presentations tonight. Mr. Branson, Building Supervisor, and Mr. Flanagan, Ground Supervisor. I think Mr. Branson is going to go first. Thank you.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good. My wife told me not to tell a joke because I'm not funny. So. So I just wanted to, got a little list here of things we updated over the summer, things we've done, keep you guys informed. Classrooms, we wiped down all the walls, wiped down all the cabinets, scrubbed the floors, touched up paint as needed, and we had to paint a few classrooms this summer. Gymnasium, the floors got re-urethaned, and we built a second floor for the athletic storage over in there. It pretty much doubled our size. I don't know if you guys have been over and checked that out, but it turned out really nice. Cafeterias, you guys see we added the red stripe around the walls, put new lines on the cafeteria floors for the little guys for basketball practice. And last minute, we added soundproofing to the ceilings of both cafeterias. Football field concession stand, we epoxy coated the restroom floors, painted the walls, put new dispensers up, new toilet paper dispensers, new soap dispensers up, and added all new LED lighting around the outside of it to save some money. Parking lots, we had all the cracks company come in, sealed all the cracks that were 1/4 inch or bigger. Take care of the asphalt as long as we can. We added a new fire lane in the rear and about 5 or 6 new handicap spots out in the rear. And then we added we repainted a crosswalk out front and added a crosswalk. And that was pretty much everything in the summer. And really like to thank all my guys. Had a great crew. The college, high school kids were fantastic. I think we got the building as clean as it's been since we've been here. That's all I have.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Mr. Flanagan?
Thanks for having me. As Dr. Vale stated, I'm Patrick Flanagan. I'm in charge of grounds here. And before the summer hit, Mr. Bassler, Dr. Vale, Mr. Branson, a few others got together and kind of put together a summer project list to do on top of our normal duties. So, first of all, Nick Berger, our athletic trainer, he helps me out part-time through the day, and he's a huge help. And a young man by the name of Johnny Ricketts, who's a student here at Carlisle, helped me this summer and really, really did an outstanding job. For a young man, he did a great job as far as not having to hold his hand, and worked extremely hard for me, so I appreciate that. But some of the summer projects, we edged all the sidewalks, weeded and mulched all the mulch beds, painted the scoreboard posts at football as well as the new play clock posts. We resurfaced the tennis court. That was a big one. We power washed and painted baseball and softball dugouts. Mr. Milligan actually did a great job painting the inside of the bathrooms out at the football stadium, so I appreciate that. We seeded and watered the playground out here with Mr. Branson's help. Try to get some more grass around there, limit the mud being tracked into the school. Organized our storage rooms down at the block building. On the east side of concessions out at the football stadium, we took away some river rock and some pavers and planted some grass, make our lives a little easier, but also make it look a little nicer. Put some river rock down on the other side of the fence at the playground as well. Painted the track hurdles, helped those a little bit, pruned some trees, cleaned up some fallen limbs, put the new basketball hoops that the PTO bought up, took down some signs and added some more visitor parking out in the main parking lot, and then cut some other signs down to about 6.5 feet. So other than that, that's kind of what we got accomplished on top of mowing and weed eating and all of that stuff. So that's all I got, if you don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy and Patrick. Those two do a great job coordinating efforts both inside and out. So, you know, it's not like they say, well, that's outside, so you do it, or that's inside, you do it. They do work together very well, and we make sure we, you know, when we did the trees out by the tennis court, we did the tennis court, anything else we did, it's a nice joint effort, and they talk together and do a lot of collaboration. So appreciate all they do. I only get upset in the summertime because when they're cleaning the building, the chlorine smell from them cleaning smell is so strong, I think they put in a pool, but I can never find it. So, but did a great job, and I know they just worked their tail off, and those young boys really do help a lot every summer. So thanks, guys, very much. If you have any questions for them, please let them know. Thank you, gentlemen.
At this time, we'll do our visitors' comments. Do we have any visitors who wants to come up? If not, we'll move on to our treasurer report.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Maybe he doesn't like me. A couple of non-action items tonight. That time of year in the fall, it's time to put together our registrations for the OSBA Capital Conference, which is in November. I have the dates on the agenda. Later this week, I'll send out something to everybody, and we'll start putting together who might want to be at 10 for this year, so I can get that registration in for the Capital Conference, as well as the Southwest Region Fall Conference, which is in October. This year it's at the Greene County Career Center. I know some of us have gone in the past, and again, these are not mandatory, but it is nice to have a representation at these conferences. So again, I'll send something out to you all, and we'll start putting together who's going to attend and who's not going to attend. So that's it. Just wanted to get those dates on your calendar and get you thinking about whether you might want to be going or not. Other than that, I have a few action items. I have the minutes from the last regularly scheduled board meeting, which was July 21st.
Need a motion?
So moved.
First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second?
second by Mrs. McIntosh. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris.
Yes.
Next is the financial report. Just getting started. Some heavy expenses in some areas because we're getting things together, getting things ordered, getting curriculum in, getting workbooks, textbooks, software programs, all the cleaning supplies to start the year. So a little bit heavy, but nothing unexpected. No surprises whatsoever. So if there's no question on a financial report, I'll need approval.
Any question? I'll need a motion. First by Mrs. Morris,
Second?
second by Mrs. Miller. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
and Mr. Jewell.
Yes.
And next, I have a donation made by the Neediest Kids of All for our Neediest Kids of All grant, $500 that helps our needy kids for some of the basics that they're not able to have.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second?
second by Mrs. Miller. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's my report for the month.
Thank you. Now we will turn it over to Dr. Bell.
Hey, Mr. Jewell, not a lot for non-action items other than the start of school, But before that, as you heard Patrick and Jimmy, they did a great job on the outside and the inside of the building, getting it ready for the new school year. School, knock on wood, went off without a hitch as far as we know. So we've been in 3-4 full days, and it seems like 4 weeks maybe already as we're back in the swing of things like we were never gone. So things are going well. Today was the first day for preschool and kindergarten, so we had the full complement of students in, and everybody's doing their thing and up and running. So we certainly thank them for getting us ready, and thank the teachers and the rest of the staff for being in place and doing what they got to do. He did talk about signs. We did those signs in the parking lot. We got rid of those signs that the construction company had to put in by the contract, but got rid of those, and we got some visitor spots, so that will certainly help out. And as I talked about the new handicap spots, but also with those signs, we did work with the city with the speed signs, both on Fairview and on Jamaica, and we made sure that we got those taken care of, complying with local law and ORC to make sure we had our areas covered without having to put too much of a burden on the travelers on those roads. So we want to thank the city for working with us on that. It was a pretty quick turnaround on that. So that's all my non-action items. Action items I have. First, we've got some general district business. We'd like to approve the Carlisle High School Bands of America Marching Band Competition field trip in Indianapolis, Indiana, November 10th of 2022. That's attachment C. Item B, approve a resolution declaring transportation to be impractical, attachment D, and to approve the attached resolution declaring intent not to provide career technical education in grades 7 and 8, attachment E.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. McIntosh, second by Mrs. Miller. Milligan.
Was that Milligan?
Milligan, I'm sorry. Bunch of M's.
Yes. Roll call?
Call the roll, please.
Yep. Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 2 has some classified resignations. Please approve the resignation of Jim Ball as head bus mechanic effective August 3rd, 2022, and approve the resignation of Tammy Calvert, educational aide, effective August 15th, 2022.
Need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. Miller, second by Mrs. Milligan. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3, classified employment. First of all, to approve Seth Powell as head bus mechanic effective August 10, 2022. Approve Tammy Lanehart as sub for clerical and educational aid. Approve Sarah Meesom as sub nurse effective August 11, 2022. Approve Hannah Estep as sub for educational aid as of August 17, 2022. And approve Mackenzie Hammock as elementary educational classroom aide.
I need a motion. First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second.
second by Mrs. McIntosh. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Miller?
Milligan.
Milligan?
Milligan.
Yes.
Heard it wrong. Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Now, Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you. We have some supplemental resignations. First, Levi Boyer as 8th grade football coach, Mike Sawyer as assistant junior high football coach, Ashley Schaus as girls assistant softball coach, and Molly Stam as Saturday morning study and study table.
I need a motion. First by Mrs. Morris,
Second.
second by Mrs. Miller. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Thank you. And the last item I have is supplemental employment. Please approve the following 2022-2023 ILT members. That's attachment F. Approve Michelle Murphy as resident educator facilitator. Approve John Giles as resident educator mentor for Brooke Adams. Approve Xavier McKinney as assistant number 2 for marching band. Approve Brooklyn Pickett as volunteer junior high cheer coach. Mike Sawyer as 8th grade football coach. And Scotty Bruns as junior high assistant football coach.
Need a motion. First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second.
second by Mrs. McIntosh. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all that I have for tonight.
Do we have anything for the legislative report?
Nothing to report.
Do we have any old business? Any new business? Need a motion to adjourn. First by Mrs. Morris,
Second.
second by Mrs. Miller. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell.
Yes.
Time is 6:15.